Okay. So the good news is basically that there is no message. There's nothing that can really be said or that needs to be said. So nothing, no experience, no information, no sentence, nothing can add anything to what happens, because what happens, hello, because what because what happens, what apparently happens, is just everything, so to speak. And when I say it's everything, it refers to this sense of unfulfillment, because the personal experience would be that what happens is not everything, and as if something is missing. And the assumption is that it's my task, so to speak, to bring about this additional something, an insight, another experience, the replacement of unfulfillment by conscious fulfillment, the replacement of struggle by peace or something. That's the dream, so to speak, that I am someone, that I'm separate, and that I need to create fulfillment or enlightenment or happiness or whatever the idea is. That's part of the dream. And one could say these things, to become really happy, to find real truth, to find really the solution, not just some temporary joy. Those attempts, of course, have to fail, because it's based on the assumption that there is someone who's not free or unenlightened or not happy, that there is a person in the first place, basically. So what this points to, what we talk about, is that this whole setup of I am someone, and I need something in order to be happy or fulfilled, that this whole experience has no reality at all. So it's not just that there is no enlightenment, but you are. It's not that there are no answers, but you have to go on living with that. In a way, it's exactly that you that is already illusory. It's that you that's already the dream. There is no one. And one could say, exactly because there is no one, there can't be any teaching. There is no right or wrong way to be. There is not the right or wrong thing to do, because it's exactly that impression to be in the first place, which doesn't have any reality. So I can't teach anything. There's nothing that I could give. There's even nothing that can become obvious. There isn't anyone. There isn't anyone here, and there isn't anyone there. There's nothing to be realized. There is no additional gaining possible. There is no position to be in, which then is the answer, for example. Okay, I would say this is it. Sitting in front of a screen, apparently participating the Zoom. And yes, if you want to comment or say something, please feel free to just turn on the microphone and speak. But keep in mind that today it will still be recorded, not the weekend. I won't record the weekend, by the way, but it will be recorded today. And if you don't want to say something, you can also write in the chat, and I will read it out anonymously, as anonymously as I manage.
Hello, Andreas. Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
It's Celia here from Australia, in bed. Sorry about this.
Oh, it looks quite good, actually.
Well, at my age, I'm ready for bed, yeah. What I'd like to ask you, first of all, I want to thank you for these Zoom meetings. They're brilliant, and I really appreciate them. And having heard your intro, I shouldn't need to ask this, but once it gets into relationships, I'm a goner. So I've written it out, so I won't go on.
Yeah.
Right. A sticking point for me is the apparent cause and effect in my life when me is on 100%. When I'm fully me, this is very traumatic. For example, if I feel closed off in my life, when me is going, when I feel closed off or threatened in some way, defensive, unloving, whatever, this will register with the other person and they will be affected by it. Right? I won't give examples, I go on. Similarly, you know, if when one's open and loving and non-defensive, behavior appears to make the other person feel good. So I know on some level there's no one doing it,
Yeah.
or that the action or response is what's happening. It
Yeah.
just feels so real.
Yeah.
And feeling I haven't got it right, particularly with relatives in family, I feel I must be so, what's the word, invested in what other people think of me all the time. So how do I cope with this feeling? Everything you say, when it's in a neutral area, I can sort of feel it.
Yeah.
But the cause and effect comes in. I did this, that's that, and I'm a goner. Can you, I'm sorry to go on. Can you say something about that?
Well, well, yes and no. I mean, on the one hand, what you said in the beginning is kind of right. That's just is what apparently happens. So no one is separate. So whatever you do or whatever the body seems to do, of course, seems to affect everything. It's in the story because there is no division at all. So that I'm moving here is already affecting the air around me, one could say. So however you are, of course, affects everyone else around you. That's what apparently happens. And basically nothing can be done about that. That's just what happens, so to speak. And yes, on the other hand, there just is no one who can do oneself. There is no you within you who can consciously do you, and the same in me and all that stuff. That's why basically there is no answer to this. The other thing is that there can be a misunderstanding going on, because the person often says, yeah, when I feel good, I do exactly experience what you say. That's what you were saying in
Yep.
the end a bit. Yeah, when I feel good, I can see that everything is just as it is. But that's not really what's being said here, that everything is good and smooth and that there is no problem for someone. So of course, when the struggle begins, or when so-called bad experiences begin, the person has the experience, oh, I dropped off again. I'm not there anymore. I lost it, or I became very dual again, or something like
Yeah.
that. But it's exactly within those so-called bad things where also there's no one in there, and they don't really mean anything. But,
Thank you.
but this is
Thank
not logical. Yeah,
No, but thank you, Andreas. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I mean, on the one hand, one could say what seems to be happening is, of course, that in a lot of relationships, or that in human behavior, there are just a lot of patterns going on. There are just a lot of so-called, what the person would regard as negative patterns. They just go on. So the closer the people are, the more they seem to come out. But in a way, that too just is what apparently happens. There is no... And of course, as relationships are often seen as this should work, or their fulfillment lies, so to speak, there's a lot of emphasis on getting that right from a personal perspective. But as I said, there is no one.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. No. Okay, a question in the chat. Hi, Andreas. You said there is a big yes to everything now. Now, maybe that is bad paraphrase. Yeah, I said that, but I knew that it was bad. But I was invited to a friend's Zoom meeting, and it was a very old-fashioned satsang meeting of trying to do being, yes, and learn lessons from coronavirus, etc., etc. Yeah. And I felt such a big no. See, when I read this, I have a big yes to it. Yeah. Well, where was the? Yes, there was a big no. I had to leave. There was no yes to this meeting. Oh, yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. You think again. It's basically the same thing. You assume that this yes to be a personal perspective, namely that there is someone here who needs to say yes to everything that's out there. Oh, that's not needed. It's not, this yes that I was talking about. It's imminent. It's not known. It's not even a yes. It was saying too much, actually, to be honest. It was a bit romantic. But exactly. You saying no to this is what happens. And there's nothing there really saying no to this. There isn't anything out there, some God or some pure consciousness saying, oh, but you should say yes to this boring satsang meet, whatever, sorry. No, it just doesn't exist. So you can say no to things as much as you want. And in the end, it's not even as much as you want. It's just as much as it happens. Oh, of course. It's not about you as a person saying yes or no to anything. So, and that's what I mean. There is already no one there saying no. It's not something that has to be discovered or has to be realized by you. That's the dream. That just doesn't work. That's a hope that you as a person can learn to say yes to everything. That's trying to save you. That's trying to survive and to save you from. It's just a personal experience. So, oh no, there's no need to say yes to anything, especially if things like that are going well. Okay, next question. Sorry for this unpleasant topic. Well, but in terms of severe abuse, cruelty, violence, and attack, whose fault is it? And why is this apparently happening? When one is abused, it's very difficult not to believe. Oh, sorry, I missed a bit. Not to believe you caused the attack and you didn't do anything wrong. And it's hard to accept this attack as a dream, especially if you've just been hit and it hurts. Oh, it is much harder than many other things to accept as it's just what's happening, and to not make up endless stories about these occurrences. Yes, but this message doesn't suggest that you should accept that that's just what's happening. That's a dream of the person. It sounds so easy. This whole idea of acceptance. It sounds so simple. I just accept. Just say yes to everything. Oh yeah, good luck. You can try to do that the rest of your life, to say yes to everything. As easy it sounds, it's the prison, it's hell. So there is nothing needs to be accepted, or on the other way around, there is no one who needs to do acceptance. Acceptance happens or not, as much as pain happens or not. There is no need to make it into something that's good or acceptable. That's working on something that's not needed. And the so-called bad things that you refer to, it's also, this message can't, or this isn't an attempt to make anything good. It's not about a transformation from bad things, turning them into good things. That's what the person is constantly trying to do, to make it good, to see the good in it, to somehow still gain some value from it, no matter how bad it is, in a way. But not needed. Bad is okay. Painful is okay, but by being painful, not by transforming it into peace and love. But of course, it's not saying to you that you should come to that standpoint. That's impossible. No one needs to be, no one needs to do goodness. No one needs to be aware of things being good. And of course, if that's what happens, that's what happens. Being hurt or something, and the impression to be someone who is being hurt and to make stories about it, and the need to answer it and the pain of it. Yeah, no way out. No answer to it. No way out. Someone writes, I love your God voice. You mean like that? Okay. Yes, the next question. Yesterday, someone wrote about no one eating a hamburger. When it comes to abuse and dealing with abuse, it can still be dealt with. Oh yeah, of course. It's just that there is no one there dealing with it. It's no different to the hamburger story. Yes, of course. Oh yes, yes. But it's a bit hard to say, because when there is no one, the word dealing with it doesn't really make sense. But of course, life just goes on, apparently, exactly as it is. So having pain, and the body will, if it's not too strong, if it's too strong, it will go into trauma. And if it's not too strong, it will just somehow process it, which all happens by itself, so to speak. One could say being human, whatever that means. No one knows what that means, but being human is as much what apparently happens as being a tree or being a table, being whatever is what apparently happens. Yeah, absolutely. Question: if there is no one, how can there be a hamburger? Yeah, that's a good question. Remains unanswered, of course.
Andreas, as you get older, your sort of point of view changes, and you sort of gradually, maybe you're not so driven, and maybe more comfortable with life. Is that, or can there be a gradual sort of diminishment of the me through? Is that happening naturally? That there's, because you're less, you're maybe ego driven or whatever.
No, you can't really say that, because theoretically, yes, it could be. Yeah. Yeah. But it could just be that you get a more and more relaxed person by so-called life experience.
Okay.
So then this would be the experience until so-called death. to just get more and more relaxed in a way, just
But
by living.
that's
But this doesn't necessarily say this could also be a person's experience.
mhm.
Or the other way around, when there is the illusion of a person running, this illusion will turn it into a personal experience for
Okay.
itself only.
Okay, I have another quick question.
Yeah.
Yesterday, somebody asked the question of whether or not, I think that this was the interpretation I had, whether or not you can sense the center in other people. And whether I think the question was whether you, Andreas, could sense, in another, that there was a center there as opposed to not being one. Could you just reiterate what you thought there?
I said hopefully that no, there is no, I don't experience a center in anyone. There is no center in anyone. There is no person in anyone. It's not there. It does not exist. I don't see anyone being a person and other people not being a person. But I also said that often it's just quite obvious because people say themselves that they are someone. And in the story, that can be kind of recognized. But it's never that there is a me record. There is no one within anyone. There is also not an illusion within people. It's not even that there is within you the illusion of a me running. Of course not. It's invisible. It does not exist. But
Okay.
still, people say me, yeah, but I am someone, or also normal life. But I do need my sausage, otherwise I can't live anymore. Of course, they go on living all the time, but they are so convinced that they need what they think they need in order to be a fulfilled. That's what apparently happens. But there never is anyone in there. It's impossible. There is no one.
Mhm.
And
I guess.
there isn't even a real illusion running. It's within them.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if, for example, with Tony, can you sense the absence of, or can you relate to him on a different level than you do with other people? You know what
Well, not really, because neither Tony nor I do relate,
I
but
mean?
other people try to relate. Yeah, that's maybe the difference,
Yeah.
the apparent difference. But no, not really. Not, I don't know.
Yeah.
There just is no one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because in the story, one could say you can't really separate it out because we just have our story and we relate as we relate, apparently. And I relate to you as that's what apparently happens. And so you can't really say it's because of that or because of that we relate like that or we relate like that because of. So it just is as it is in the end, basically. Okay. And next question from the chat. Do you talk about this with relatives or do you avoid it? Well, I don't start talking about it. There's no reason to do. I'm not holding back or anything, but there just isn't anything which you can talk to anyone or which someone has to know. So I actually never start with this issue because it's not an issue even. So usually it's not an issue, and usually the relatives avoid talking about it. So it's hardly an issue. They buy the books, but I think they don't read them. Yeah. Okay, next question or comment. Often healing trauma is about having a healthy relationship to the trauma, which happens or not. Yet this message seems to say, ... well, it doesn't say anything. That's the freedom. Yes, exactly. It doesn't say anything. Yes. There is no message. There's nothing that you should or could do in order to become a fulfilled person. And trauma is what happens, and the healing of trauma is what happens, and relationships that get worse or better is what apparently happens. And that relationships seem to become better when the trauma is healed is what apparently happens. But that there's still maybe the illusion of being someone who still needs more healing to be more fulfilled is what apparently happens. Yeah, nothing matters. Nothing matters. There is no message to anyone. Yes. Gosh, this is so freeing. Oh, yes. Yeah. It's freeing from a prison that never existed. And next question. I suffer a lot because I experience being in the prison but cannot come out. Yes, yes, that's the assumption that there is a prison and that there is someone sitting in the prison, so to speak. But what's being said here is basically that there is no one sitting in the prison. Or that the person itself is the prison, one could say so also. So, yes. So the attempt to become free from the prison, of course, cannot be successful because there's no one sitting in the prison. It's just the prison itself. Me trying to come out of prison is the prison. Me trying to become a happy person is the prison. Me trying to whatever. Yeah. Apparently, of course, because there's no one there. There's no one in there. The next question is, I heard you say you don't have a life. Yes. But can you say there is life or that all there is life? Well, not really. No, not really. Because in order to make this statement, you would need someone to be aware of it. As if there is something called life, for example, or is as if there is something as existence. Yeah. Because usually that's what the picture of life is. I mean, the person can create a very impersonal picture of life. Yeah, everything is just happening, feelings and thoughts and trees, and it's just alive, so to speak. There's just aliveness without anyone in it. But in the end, in order to make that statement that all there is life, you would already need someone who knows that. And in my opinion, everybody who says that very narrowly, again, only refers to existence, about there being things, thoughts, feelings, which somehow are aliveness or alive. So in the end, if it's another word for no thing, I mean, you can say everything, or there's this no thing, or there's this life, aliveness, wholeness. Of course, why not? It's not about the words. They don't matter. But my impression is that most people say all there is life still refers to some kind of existence, some kind of material world, so to speak. And in order to make that statement, you still would need someone who already experiences itself as alive. Yeah, I think I was referring to existence or something going on. Exactly, something going on. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Conceptually, the person can paint an utterly impersonal picture. Like, yeah, existence. Everything is just going on and that stuff. There's just life, totally neutral, just life going on. Just life, but can very easily come from a conceptual standpoint, which in the end doesn't answer the seeking. It's another nice concept, which seems to answer a lot of so-called problems. Ah, yeah, there's violence going on in Syria. Yeah, it's just life happening. Ah, yeah, all right. Which on the one hand is kind of true, because that's what it is, but you can't adopt that standpoint, or to try to adopt that standpoint would be just another concept. It's not doesn't answer anything. Okay, the answer is exactly. It feels like that's the closest conceptual point of view that I derived from this message. Yeah, one could say so. Exactly. But when there is someone, it's still a concept. And my impression is that most people who say this refer to existence. And I know some people who like the simplicity of this answer, but they have to tell it again and again and again. But it's like believing in God. It's so simple that if you believe in this one answer that you can use to any situation, so to speak, but seen from the person, it would be being used in order to end the search, in order to stop the asking, in order to stop seeking. Ah, yeah, all there is life. I forgot. Yeah, true. But why is it so painful? Yeah, it's just life. True. Doesn't work. It's endless. Thank you.
Andreas?
Yes.
You know, when you say this is everything, how how is it that it's like you say, oh, the screen and the looking at the screen or whatever, that's everything. Obviously,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense from here, because you think, oh, this is a bit of it, and then there's behind me is a bit more, and so
Yes.
how in what way is it everything?
Well, this everything actually rather refers to the experience of this can't be everything. It refers to this illusory need that seems to be fulfilled. It's not everything in a sense of everything that exists. That's how
Right.
somehow the person would process it. Ah, what I'm aware
Yeah.
of is everything that exists.
Yeah, I thought that's what you meant.
Exactly, in contrast to the things that I'm not aware of, they don't exist, or maybe they don't exist, or maybe they do exist, but I don't know. But it's not really meant like that, because nothing exists. Nothing exists as things. So in that sense, it's not everything, so to speak. It's everything in a sense that nothing can be added in
Ah, so
referring
everything, right.
referring to this need for wholeness, in referring to this need to find an additional answer.
Okay, so everything in the sense of whole and complete.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
not that it makes sense,
Yes.
but
The other thing is this here and now teaching. All there is this moment, which is exactly the person's experience, which is unfulfilling.
right.
That all the person.
Bless you.
Thank you. That all the person has to find fulfillment is the actual moment, and that's exactly what's not enough. But the person would say, this moment is all that exists, and now I have to deal with that, so to speak. But that's another concept. So,
Because what you're saying about I don't know if I'm if I'm in all that's happening in these meetings is I'm enjoying playing with the concepts, but yeah, I kind of have a lot more of a sense, or I have a clearer concept. When you say everything's appearance and everything's only apparent.
yes.
Like you're saying about superficial. There's nothing beyond it. There's nothing behind it. There's no depth to it. No meaning, etc., etc. It's just what's happening. But I still
Yes.
have this kind of image that even though
What,
there's only one thing happening, that somehow that's includes everything.
yes, exactly. It still assumes to say that there is nothing beyond, somehow still assumes that there is something present at least.
Yeah.
But in the end, exactly, there isn't even one happening that is going on. Yes.
Yeah, it's impossible. Like the idea that what Spain isn't happening, even if it's a superficial, and just apparent. Somehow, even the appearance of Spain surely is still happening.
Well, I've no idea.
Just my mum lives there.
All right. I mean, I have no idea in the end if a Zoom talk with Andreas is happening right now.
Okay.
So that's the thing. There's already no awareness of what's going on now.
Because it's blind.
Exactly. Because there is no one who really experiences what goes on to be real.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The experiencer would be the only thing that would make that distinction.
Yeah.
It would say, oh yeah, of course, the computer is here. I can see that. I'm now here and I'm aware of the computer. Spain already? Is there Spain or not? Actually, I can't really know because I'm not there to experience it.
Yeah. So that's all in the dream world. Okay.
Well, the dream world is basically I experience this moment. And the question about Spain being there or not only comes up because this moment is experienced to be real.
Yeah.
But this moment already, there isn't already any information about this moment being or not being. In that sense, there is no distinction between now and Spain. Both can't be answered. Both is unknowable.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm making cookies today, by the way.
Ah, that's nice. But you are far away from my home. I mean, that's the thing with this. There's just it's just a separate this whole here and now idea. This whole idea of there being a moment. It just divides, but it's also playing with this idea of real and unreal. But it's all conceptual. It's exactly what I said. The person would definitely say, "Oh yeah, this moment is real. There is no doubt about that. I'm here to experience it. So all that I have is the moment." And then the conclusions start, but there is no past and no future. Yeah, all right. I can understand that, because if I don't think about the past, it's not there. And if I don't think about the future, it's not there. But it's all conclusions. It's all conclusions that the person draws. It's all conclusions from inquiring into its own reality. But again, you have two. This moment is real, everything else is not real. But it starts with the impression to be there and have a moment and experience a moment. That's the thing why also this moment teaching needs someone to work. You still need someone who has to be present in order to make this moment worthwhile. It's not effortless in the story, in the teaching of that.
Hi, Andreas.
Hello.
So anything can arise, and like even feelings, thoughts.
Apparently, yes.
Apparently, and I'm struggling with the understanding of like, okay, fear, hunger, anxiety, anything can arise, right?
Apparently, yes.
And it, like, for instance, anxiety. Who is it who experiences anxiety? I mean, there is no person. I mean, and what? So like, how can, does it make any difference? The body reacts differently if there is no me. I mean, of course, I know there is no me, but like, uh, who who is the receiver of all this?
And no one.
Hmm.
Yes, there is no receiver of anything or perceiver of anything.
But these things, feelings, thoughts, just like arise apparently, and
Exactly. One could say they apparently arise because they don't really arise. Arise in a sense of come into existence. They just are what apparently happens for no one. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit hard to say when you say everything can arise. Yes, theoretically, everything can arise. But of course, when there is the illusion of a person, the person lives in a lot of stories about life and about itself, which somehow offers a huge potential for all kinds of feelings, for all kinds of, it's in the story, but all kinds of additional feelings. So in a way, when there is no one, the tendency to live in the stories drop, and with it, a lot of so-called feelings and frustrations about me being a person and not being enlightened, for example. But yes, theoretically, anything can apparently happen, of course. Yeah. But it's not perceived, it's not experienced. It never really is. It's part of a dream that feelings happen for me, or that feelings need to be perceived, for example. No, they don't need to. They just are what they are. No one knows that. And in the end, no one knows them. No one even is aware of them arising. It's not that feelings come and go. There's no experience of things coming and going. That would already imply some awareness that one is, for whom things arise and fall away. There's no experience of things coming and going. Feelings, thoughts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andreas?
Yes.
Hold on. Oops. Hold on. Sorry, someone else in the room. Yeah, just I'm still this thing about appearance, and I think so. Did you say the other day, or somebody said like nothing exists?
Yes.
Because I still have. Yeah. So when you say everything's energy, is that not something that exists?
Well, first, I hardly say that. And it would just be another word for, yes, that would be the picture of the person. That, okay, there's energy, which is something. But it's the same when I say wholeness, oneness, aliveness, no thing. Even when I say no thing, the person would assume, okay, there is this one thing called no thing, which exists.
Right. It's
Yes.
it's just crazy, like that there can be all this appearance and yet it doesn't exist. It's like they seem that. I mean, that is a paradox if ever there was one.
Exactly. That's the thing, that there isn't anything which is, and that what happens looking to a screen is real and unreal. So I wouldn't, if I'm very, you can't say it right, but in the end, I wouldn't even say that there is an appearance, because
Okay, so
because quickly it's another something that is.
yeah. I suppose when you say apparently, or any of you say apparently, you think, oh, well, that means because it's only an appearance, it's not. There's no substance to it.
Yes, so I would say it's an apparent appearance. Because, as I say, appearance, or how the person would understand it, it always comes back to something that somehow came into existence.
Yeah, and that maybe I can get hold of.
In some way or the other, even all those concepts, it's a bit like what we had with all there is life or something. Yeah, things just arise.
Yeah.
The
Yes,
person
it's trying to find a
also
standpoint.
can turn that into a very impersonal concept, which it can, feelings just arise, they just come and go. But the whole picture is still processed from an observing standpoint.
Yeah.
But in the end, nothing comes into existence ever. Nothing appears in a sense of a process of manifesting. That would all be conclusions from the personal experience, because when the person experiences itself as I'm awareness, all the time things come and go. And all the time things seem to become real the moment that I'm aware of them. So that's still a concept that comes back from that comes from the personal experience. But there isn't anything really coming and going. It's not that feelings arise and are real for 2 seconds and then become unreal again. No, they are real and unreal all the time.
And even when you use the word real, I'm like, well, surely that exists. If it's real, then surely that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely beyond me. So,
but absolutely, exactly. Yeah.
Fun to play with, though.
Yeah.
Actually, I did a philosophy degree about 40 years ago, and this is the most fun I've had since.
Great. Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, and in the Okay, next, going on in the chat. So what apparently happens isn't this moment, but just everything. Yes, one could say so, which is completely unknowable. It doesn't say until this point it's real, and beyond that point it's not real. It doesn't even say this is real. There is no awareness of something being real. Yeah, yeah, it's just everything, whatever that means. Ah, okay, now I get it. I received the same question again and again. I'm sending you this again because I've lost the signal several times. So I'm not sure if you've seen it or not. If you have, please ignore it, and I listened to the response on YouTube. Thanks. Yes, I answered it actually, not too shortly. So, yeah. Didn't anything? It's hard to accept. Yes. Yeah, it should be on YouTube actually. That's luxury. Yeah, you can watch it on YouTube. Well, yeah.
Andreas,
Yeah.
can you say a few words about the difference between experience and happening? Like, for example, you say all there is what's happening. Can you sort of define that from experience? Happening?
Well, one could say that everything is what apparently happens. I usually say so. Thoughts, feelings, how you are, the trees, and nothing is an experience. One could also say the person only lives in the illusion of an experience of, which means the person is never really sitting on a chair. It has the experience to sit on a chair from a separate standpoint and believes to know what sitting on a chair is. But it never really is sitting on a chair. The person never really thinks thoughts. It has the experience to think thoughts and overlays everything with its divided reality, where everything is separate. The person never is sad. It experiences only how it is to be sad, or it only experiences to be sad from a separate standpoint. It never completely is sad, so to speak. But what's being said here is that exactly that separation is the cause for the sense of unfulfillment. And on the other hand, what's being said is that it completely does not exist. It's a dream that there is anyone separate from sadness, that there is a you who is aware of something called sadness.
Okay, thank you.
What we talk about, sitting in front of a screen and being you and being me and watching and all that, so it's so ordinary. We don't talk about any additional reality or hidden truth or some mystical thing at all. Of course, for the person, it may sound mystical because coming from its experience, it doesn't have any access at all. But what we talk about is just what happens. It's just this, not about anything that's beyond or more or special or. It's sitting on a chair and looking to a screen. Okay, next question. I never believed it when speakers said that listening to non-duality or going to meetings would not help the me drop. Yeah. It always felt like it did help, but now it's become obvious that it doesn't. and that it's just all concepts and the excitement has gone. Oh. And of course, no one can give nothing to anyone. Yes. There's nothing to get because there's nothing and no one to get that. Yes. This seems like a big loss, as it's been listening to non-duality 24/7 for 4 years. I don't even know for sure if there's a me or not, and there's nowhere to go now. Sorry, it's so long. No, oh yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah, there is nothing to get. Which doesn't only refer to non-duality, there is nothing to get. There is no world there for anything to get from. There is no person who needs something. There isn't anything to get. You can do what you want. You can go to non-duality, you can eat pizza, you can have partners or no partners. Everything is whole already, but there's nothing to get. And of course, the apparent person will imply, I don't know, will imply on anything or within anything that there is something to get. There must be something to get in life, because this can't be it. Not from an intellectual point, not because there is some wrong conditioning or something. It's just, it's instant experience. Yeah, it's nice, those talks, but sorry, this can't be it. Or my whole life. Sorry, I've lived for half of my life now, but I'm not here for that. I'm still waiting for the actual thing to happen. I'm still waiting to get something. Why would I have done all this meditation and being present and healing work if it was for nothing? The moment there is someone, there is this impression that it must be for my presence, my being here has to be good for something. No, no, it isn't. One could say apparently it is good, but not in order to gain anything. It's wholly good in the sense of whole and complete, but exactly as it is. Okay, there's another question. Andreas, is the apparent center, which feels really personal, the unknown, no thing? Yes, there is just no thing and nothing else. Absolutely, and even no thing isn't something that is. But exactly, self-consciousness, self-awareness is an illusion. The person claiming to know itself is a dream. It doesn't know itself. It's unknowable. It's an illusion. This is not logical. I can't explain that. But it's some assumption, self-knowledge, self-awareness, self-consciousness. There isn't anything. No one knows the me. No one knows what the me is. No one knows anything. No one knows if there's a me or not. It doesn't know itself. So it's hard to say. The center is no thing. Yes and no, because this is actually saying that there is no center. But yes, in that way, the illusion of there being a center is no thing, which again is saying that there is no illusion of a center, because it isn't even something that can be cut out. It's a dream that it cuts itself out, saying, yeah, but I know myself, there is a self-experience going on. No, it never is. It's amazing. That's what's being said here in a way. There isn't anything that can be cut out and known. Okay, there is no me, there is no message, there is no suggestion. Because what apparently happens, including yourself, how you are, what you think, what you feel, what I think, what I feel, is what apparently happens. It's neither real nor unreal, or it's both. It's not an it. There is not an it going on. There is no real reality going on while something else is an illusion. No, it just is as it is, plainly, simply, without any realization. Nothing needs an additional realization. It's just this. It's just what happens. That's it. Thank you very much. I wish you a lovely day. Lovely day. Yeah. See you.
Thanks, Andreas.
Thank
Is
you.
it, is it,
Hi,
is
Andreas.
it this weekend?
Thank
Are
you.
you doing a talk
Yeah,
this weekend?
exactly. Who's interested? This weekend will be an English weekend. You'll find the information on my website. It will not be recorded. There will be a break in the middle. You are welcome to join. Exactly. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Lovely to see you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Andreas. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Andreas.